Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're stepping into the glamorous and action-packed world of James Bond with From Russia with Love. This 1963 classic, the second installment in the iconic Bond franchise, not only solidified Sean Connery as the quintessential 007, but also raised the bar for what a spy thriller could be. Packed with intrigue, action, and a dash of romance, this film introduced several elements that became staples of the franchise, from the pre-credits sequence to the unforgettable gadgets. Before we dive into 20 things you never knew about From Russia with Love, let's recap the storyline of this thrilling masterpiece. Set against the backdrop of the Cold War, From Russia with Love follows James Bond on a high-stakes mission that begins with a seemingly simple objective: retrieve a Soviet Lecter decoding device from a defecting Russian agent, Tatiana Romanova. However, nothing is ever straightforward in the world of espionage. Unbeknownst to Bond, the entire mission is an elaborate trap set by the sinister criminal organization, Spectre. Spectre's goal is twofold: to eliminate Bond and to spark tensions between the British and the Russians. Their key players include the cunning assassin Red Grant, the manipulative Rosa Klebb, and the ever-mysterious Ernst Stavro Blofeld, who makes his first shadowy appearance in the franchise. As Bond and Tatiana navigate a web of deception, they face relentless threats, from deadly traps to thrilling chases by land, sea, and air. The Orient Express becomes a central stage for the story's tension, culminating in a brutal hand-to-hand fight between Bond and Grant. With wit, resourcefulness, and a bit of luck, Bond ultimately thwarts Spectre's plans, retrieves the Lector, and escapes with Tatiana in a romantic Venetian finale. But what went into creating this thrilling cinematic masterpiece? From frantic script rewrites to near-death experiences during production, the behind-the-scenes story of From Russia with Love is a tale of drama, resilience, and sheer creativity in its own right. Now that we've set the stage, let's dive into fascinating behind-the-scenes facts about From Russia with Love. Whether you're a longtime Bond fan or a newcomer to the series, these details will give you a deeper appreciation of this cinematic gem. When it comes to crafting a cinematic masterpiece, the road is rarely smooth, and From Russia with Love was no exception. The sequel to Doctor No had enormous expectations riding on its shoulders, and the pressure to deliver a worthy follow-up within a tight production schedule left little room for error. This urgency led to a chaotic yet fascinating creative process, with screenwriter Richard Maibaum at the center of it all. Imagine being tasked with scripting a film while production is already underway. That was Maibaum's reality. The need to adapt and evolve the story as filming progressed resulted in constant rewrites, some of which happened right before the cameras rolled. But why was this change significant? Without these added moments, Red Grant's role might have felt underdeveloped, and his climactic showdown with Bond on the Orient Express would have lacked the emotional weight that made it so memorable. By showcasing Grant tracking Bond and carrying out Spectre's dirty work throughout the film, the audience was treated to a slow burn buildup of suspense, making their final fight one of the most gripping hand-to-hand combat scenes in Bond history. Beyond the changes to Red Grant's role, other rewrites included adjustments to the Istanbul sequences to better reflect the city's vibrant yet mysterious atmosphere. Istanbul wasn't just a backdrop, it was a character in itself, with its bustling markets, iconic landmarks, and shadowy underground cisterns, adding layers of intrigue to the story. The rewrites ensured that these elements were fully utilized, enriching the narrative and immersing viewers in the world of international espionage. What's even more impressive is how these rewrites were executed amidst the logistical challenges of filming in a foreign country. The bustling crowds in Istanbul often disrupted shoots, with onlookers clamoring to catch a glimpse of Sean Connery. This meant that scenes had to be reworked on location, with Maybaum and director Terence Young brainstorming fixes on the spot. For instance, one notable adjustment involved the train station sequence. Originally envisioned as a straightforward scene, the overwhelming presence of curious spectators forced the crew to rethink how they could capture the necessary shots. This led to the clever distraction involving stunt coordinator Peter Perkins dangling from a balcony, a spur-of-the-moment solution that became part of Bond production lore. While the rewrites added depth and drama, some planned elements never made it to the final film. Early drafts of the script explored more of Tatiana Romanova's backstory, detailing her life as a Soviet agent and the emotional conflict she faced in betraying her country. Though much of this was trimmed to streamline the narrative, hints of her internal struggle remain, adding complexity to her relationship with Bond. Similarly, there were discussions about including more scenes, showcasing Spectre's global reach and villainous schemes. However, these ideas were scaled back, possibly due to time constraints, leaving fans to wonder what additional layers of intrigue might have been explored. In the end, the constant rewrites paid off, resulting in a film that felt dynamic, layered, and polished despite its chaotic creation. The decisions to elevate Red Grant's presence and lean into Istanbul's mystique were pivotal in shaping From Russia with Love into one of the most beloved entries in the Bond franchise. This behind-the-scenes chaos reminds us that sometimes the best art emerges from uncertainty and adaptability. So, the next time you watch Bond face off against Red Grant or navigate the labyrinthine streets of Istanbul, take a moment to appreciate the ingenuity and hard work that went into bringing this classic to life. Ian Fleming's novel was a Cold War thriller, but Eon Productions chose not to portray Russians as villains to avoid political sensitivities. Instead, they introduced Spectre, a fictional evil organization, making the film more globally palatable. The train station sequence in Istanbul drew thousands of curious onlookers, hoping to catch a glimpse of Sean Connery. To manage this, director Terence Young used a clever distraction. A stunt coordinator dangled upside down from a balcony, diverting attention long enough to film the boarding scene on the Orient Express. One of the most thrilling sequences in From Russia with Love is the high-octane boat chase that closes the film with an explosive finale. Interestingly, this iconic scene wasn't part of Ian Fleming's original novel. It was specifically added to inject more adrenaline into the film's conclusion, ensuring that audiences left the theater on the edge of their seats. However, what unfolded behind the scenes during the filming of this sequence was almost as dramatic as what made it onto the screen. Filmed in the breathtaking yet rugged landscapes of Western Scotland, the production team faced an uphill battle. The unpredictable weather, rough waters, and technical hurdles pushed the crew to their limits. These challenges were amplified when director Terence Young, while scouting locations for the chase, narrowly escaped a tragedy. His helicopter crashed into a lake, plunging into 40 to 50 feet of water. Young, along with 2 crew members, was trapped in an air pocket for hours before being miraculously rescued. The harrowing incident didn't just delay filming, it left the crew shaken. Remarkably, Young returned to set shortly afterward, determined to finish what he had started. Adding to the chaos, actress Daniela Bianchi, Tatiana Romanova, suffered a car accident while traveling to the set. Although bruised and shaken, she soldiered on, her injuries concealed with makeup. Her professionalism became a testament to the sheer dedication of the cast and crew. A miscalculation during the filming of the fiery climax resulted in serious injuries to 3 stuntmen. Actor Walter Gotell, who portrayed the Spectre agent Morzeny, also suffered burns to his eyelids during the chaotic sequence. These incidents highlighted the high stakes involved in creating realistic action scenes during an era with limited safety measures. Despite these setbacks, the sequence became one of the standout moments of the film, praised for its intensity and visual flair. Fans were captivated by the sense of danger and the seamless execution of Bond's escape, even though it came at such a cost to those behind the scenes. When the film premiered, the boat chase sequence was hailed as a groundbreaking action moment for the Bond franchise. Audiences marveled at the realism and tension, and it quickly became one of the most talked about parts of the movie. Fan letters poured in, praising Sean Connery's poise during the scene and the overall creativity of the sequence. Critics also applauded the decision to add the chase, noting how it elevated the film's pacing and gave it a more dramatic conclusion. Many felt that the chase solidified Bond's reputation as not just a clever spy, but also a man of action, capable of outwitting and outmaneuvering even the most persistent foes. The scene's impact extended beyond fans. Media outlets at the time, such as The Times and Variety, praised the film's technical achievements, citing the boat chase as a prime example of how Bond films were redefining action cinema. The sequence also set the stage for future Bond movies, where increasingly elaborate and dangerous stunts became a hallmark of the franchise. The making of From Russia with Love wasn't just a journey into the world of espionage, it was an endurance test for its cast and crew. Packed with daring stunts and high-stakes sequences, the production took a toll both physically and mentally, leaving behind a legacy of courage and resilience that matched the intensity of the on-screen action. This near-death experience didn't just highlight Young's grit, it solidified his commitment to the film. Incredibly, after escaping what could have been a fatal accident, he returned to work almost immediately, determined to finish the project. His unwavering dedication inspired the cast and crew, reminding everyone of the risks that came with pushing cinematic boundaries. The challenges weren't limited to the director. Actress Daniela Bianchi, who portrayed Bond's love interest, Tatiana Romanova, faced her own physical ordeal. While traveling to the set, Bianchi was involved in a car crash that left her with visible bruises and minor injuries. Instead of taking time off to recover, she persevered, with makeup artists working overtime to conceal the signs of her accident. Her professionalism became a talking point, earning admiration from fans and crew alike. Bianchi's resilience added an unspoken layer of authenticity to her performance, especially in scenes where her character navigated life or death situations alongside Bond. The explosive boat chase finale may have thrilled audiences, but for the stunt team, it was a dangerous undertaking. One particular mishap during filming resulted in serious injuries for 3 stuntmen. The meticulously planned explosion went awry, causing burns and injuries that could have easily been fatal. Actor Walter Gotell, who played the menacing Spectre agent Morzeny, wasn't spared either. The fiery blast left him with burns on his eyelids, a painful injury that highlights the lack of modern safety protocols during the 1960s. Yet, like everyone else on the team, Gotell pushed through the pain, ensuring the scene was completed with the intensity required to leave audiences in awe. As if these incidents weren't enough, Sean Connery himself faced life-threatening risks during filming. Known for his hands-on approach to action scenes, Connery performed many of his own stunts, including the helicopter sequence near the film's end. However, this dedication nearly cost him his life. During filming, An inexperienced pilot flew the helicopter dangerously close to Connery, missing him by mere feet. The actor remained calm under pressure, a trait that mirrored Bond's unshakable demeanor. This near disaster not only underscored Connery's commitment to authenticity, but also added a layer of respect from fans who admired his willingness to fully embody the role of 007. What makes these stories so compelling is that they reveal the human side of filmmaking, a side often hidden behind the glamour and polish of the final product. The risks taken by young Bianchi, Connery, and the stunt team weren't just for spectacle. They were for the art of storytelling. These moments of courage and resilience contributed to the gritty realism that made From Russia with Love a standout entry in the Bond franchise. When these incidents came to light after the film's release, fans were in awe of the dedication shown by the cast and crew. Many admired Terence Young's return to work after such a traumatic experience, while others praised Daniela Bianchi's professionalism. Sean Connery's near miss became a legendary anecdote, further cementing his reputation as the ultimate Bond. Media outlets of the time, including The Guardian and Variety, covered these behind-the-scenes stories, applauding the team's efforts in the face of adversity. The dangers faced during production became a badge of honor for the Bond franchise, showcasing its commitment to delivering larger-than-life action that felt undeniably nigh. From Russia with Love marked the first appearance of Ernst Stavro Blofeld, the sinister head of Spectre. While Blofeld's face is never shown, his body was portrayed by Anthony Dawson, and his voice was provided by Austrian actor Erich Pohlmann. The fight between Bond and Red Grant on the Orient Express is one of the franchise's most realistic combat scenes. Sean Connery and Robert Shaw performed most of their own stunts, with choreography inspired by Terence Young's boxing background. The underground rat sequence was particularly tricky to shoot. Initially, lab rats coated with cocoa powder were used, but they licked it off instead of running. Since using wild rats in British films was illegal, Young filmed the scene in Madrid with 200 wild rats caught by local rat catchers. In Fleming's novel, Grant appears early but vanishes until the climax. The film adaptation strengthened his presence by adding scenes of him tracking Bond and performing assassinations, building tension for the epic train fight. From Russia with Love was the first Bond film to include a pre-credits sequence. In this opening, Red Grant stalks and kills a Bond impersonator, revealed to be part of a training exercise establishing a staple of future Bond films. The trapdoor behind a poster of Anita Ekberg was inspired by Fleming's novel, where a character escapes through a billboard. Our production designer, Sid Kane, replaced Monroe with Ekberg, under contract with Eon Productions at the time. The British Board of Film Classification nearly gave the film an X rating due to a voyeuristic scene involving Bond and Tatiana. After trimming it, the filmmakers secured an A rating, allowing wider audience access. When we think of the master of suspense Alfred Hitchcock and the suave world of James Bond, it's impossible not to imagine the magic these two cinematic powerhouses could have created together. Following the groundbreaking success of Dr. No, Hitchcock, a self-proclaimed admirer of Ian Fleming's novels, reportedly expressed interest in helming the next chapter of 07's story. However, due to various circumstances, this collaboration never materialized, and Terence Young ultimately returned to direct From Russia with Love. But what if Hitchcock had taken the reins? Let's unpack what this missed opportunity could have meant for the Bond franchise and why Terence Young's return was just as significant. Hitchcock's reputation as the master of suspense was well earned, with films like Psycho, Rear Window, and North by Northwest showcasing his unparalleled ability to create tension and psychological depth. His approach to filmmaking often prioritized complex characters, layered narratives, and meticulously crafted set pieces. Imagine Hitchcock directing From Russia with Love. Hitchcock might have delved deeper into the minds of the characters, particularly Bond and his adversaries. Rosa Klebb's menacing persona or Red Grant's cold-blooded efficiency could have been explored with chilling detail, adding more psychological weight to their encounters with Bond. Hitchcock's ability to turn ordinary moments into edge-of-your-seat suspense could have transformed scenes like the train confrontation with Red Grant or the underground rat sequence into unforgettable cinematic moments. Hitchcock's films often featured protagonists grappling with moral ambiguity or personal stakes. This perspective might have introduced a grittier, more introspective Bond, contrasting with the charming, larger-than-life spy audiences had come to love. While Hitchcock's potential involvement is tantalizing to consider, several factors prevented this collaboration. 1. Scheduling conflicts. Hitchcock was in high demand during the early 1960s. At the time, he was likely preoccupied with other projects, including The Birds, which was released the same year as From Russia with Love. 2. Creative control. Hitchcock was known for being a meticulous director who insisted on creative control over his films. The Bond franchise, spearheaded by producers Albert R. Broccoli and Harry Saltzman, relied on their vision for the series. This clash of creative authority could have made collaboration difficult. Third-tone differences. Hitchcock's darker, more psychological style may not have aligned perfectly with the lighter, escapist tone the Bond films were establishing. While Hitchcock's involvement would have undoubtedly been fascinating, Terence Young was arguably the perfect director to shape Bond into the cultural icon he became. Young had a unique understanding of the Bond character, imbuing him with a balance of charm, wit, and ruthlessness. His direction in From Russia with Love introduced elements that defined the franchise. Young's eye for stylish, well-choreographed action ensured that Bond's escapades felt thrilling, yet polished, maintaining the suave image of the secret agent. Young's attention to detail brought Fleming's world to life, from the bustling streets of Istanbul to the claustrophobic train compartments of the Orient Express. Initially hesitant about Sean Connery as Bond, Fleming became convinced after From Russia with Love. He even added Scottish ancestry to Bond's backstory as a nod to Connery. Robert Shaw, shorter than Sean Connery, stood on a crate during their scenes together to appear more intimidating as Red Grant. Pedro Armendáriz, who played Karim Bey, was battling terminal cancer during filming. Determined to secure his family's future, he completed his scenes in 2 weeks, despite deteriorating health. Tragically, he passed away before the film's release. Sylvia Trench, Bond's romantic interest introduced in Dr. No, was planned as a recurring character, but was dropped after director Guy Hamilton took over for Goldfinger. Spectre's headquarters scenes were filmed at Heatherton Hall, Pinewood Studios, which also featured in films like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and The Great Gatsby. When it comes to filmmaking, it's not unusual for directors and producers to leave subtle personal marks on their projects, small nods that often go unnoticed by the audience. From Russia with Love took this tradition a step further, featuring cameo appearances by the wives of 2 key filmmakers, Jacqueline Saltzman, wife of producer Harry Saltzman, and Dorothea Bennett, wife of director Terence Young. These brief yet meaningful cameos weren't just a fun Easter egg for those in the know. They added a touch of intimacy to a larger-than-life production. Jacqueline Saltzman's cameo is easy to miss unless you're paying close attention. She appears in the train sequence, glancing out of a window as Bond and Tatiana navigate the drama unfolding aboard the Orient Express. Though brief, her presence subtly connects the film to the personal lives of its creators, showcasing how deeply involved the filmmakers' families were in the production. What's particularly charming about this cameo is how it ties into the spirit of the franchise. James Bond films often depict glamorous locations and moments of fleeting human connection. Jacqueline's appearance, though understated, echoes this theme, adding an extra layer of detail to an already rich scene. Dorothea Bennett's cameo comes later in the film, during Bond and Tatiana's picturesque scenes in Venice. In the film, her character is seen holding a camera, filming the couple as they stroll romantically along the canals. On the surface, it's a simple blink and you'll miss it moment. However, this choice of cameo feels symbolic, especially given Bennett's real-life role as the partner of director Terence Young. It's almost poetic, the director's wife capturing the romantic climax of Bond and Tatiana's story, as if reflecting her husband's role in capturing the larger narrative on screen. Her cameo adds a fun layer to the film, giving sharp-eyed viewers something special to notice. While these appearances may seem minor, they speak volumes about the collaborative, almost familial atmosphere on the set of From Russia with Love. Harry Saltzman and Terence Young were key figures in shaping the Bond series into the cultural phenomenon it is today. By including their wives in the film, they created a subtle homage to the personal support systems that helped them achieve their creative vision. Moreover, these cameos offer a glimpse into the production culture of the 1960s, where filmmakers often worked with smaller, tightly knit teams. Including loved ones in the creative process wasn't just a sentimental gesture. It was a way of sharing the magic of filmmaking with those closest to them. Too, while these cameos didn't receive much attention upon the film's initial release, fans of the Bond franchise have since picked up on these subtle details. For die-hard Bond enthusiasts, spotting Jacqueline Saltzman and Dorothea Bennett has become a fun part of rewatching the film. A little nugget of trivia that adds to the movie's charm. Media retrospectives on From Russia with Love have occasionally highlighted these cameos as examples of how personal touches can enhance a film's legacy. They remind us that even in a franchise as grand as James Bond, there's room for moments of intimacy and warmth. The inclusion of Jacqueline Saltzman and Dorothea Bennett in From Russia with Love is more than just a fun piece of trivia. It's a testament to the collaborative spirit of the Bond films and the personal dedication of those involved. These cameos, though small, are a reminder that behind every iconic film are countless individuals, including the loved ones who support the visionaries behind the scenes. Next time you watch From Russia with Love, keep an eye out for these charming appearances. They're a reminder that even in the world of spies, action, and intrigue, there's always room for a personal touch. What do you think of these cameos? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories about your favorite films.